Hi, welcome to Computing Foundations, a channel for beginners who want to learn about computers, programming, and the math, science, and art behind the field. I'm Josh Kilpatrick, a retired software engineer, and today we're learning about the C language and specifically about operators. So in every language, we have operators. What are they? Operators are special symbols that are placed inside an expression, and it has one or two sides to the expression. So let me give you an example because it's easier to just show you than it is to give it words. So let's imagine I've defined three integers, a, b, and c, like so. An example operator that I could use would be a plus b. Here we have two sides of the expression, a and b, the left-hand side and the right-hand side, and an operator, the addition operator. Another example might be c minus b. That would give us the value -3, okay? So both of these are operators. They're math operators. Just like you would expect them to work, that's how they work. Another important operator that you've already seen is the assignment operator, the equals operator, which means take whatever is on the right-hand side and copy it into what is on the left-hand side. So you have to have a variable on the left-hand side. So as an example here, I could say something like b equals b plus a. So what the computer is going to do is evaluate whatever is on the right-hand side of the operator first. So it'll first say, what is b plus a? B plus a is 8. Then it will evaluate the assignment operator and assign 8 to b. So after this expression, after this statement executes, we'll have the value of b will be changed to be 8. All right. So let's learn a little bit more about the assignment operator. First of all, when I'm declaring a variable like I'm doing here, I can immediately assign a value to the variable all in one statement. Or I can define a variable and not give it any value, which means it's undefined. It could have any value in it. You don't know what value it has. And then as a second statement, I can assign the value. But let's take a look at something a little more complex, which sometimes can be confusing. It's perfectly legal to write the following expression. Var equals yar equals var plus 5. All right, so what are we saying and what will the computer do? So remember, when it encounters the first assignment operator, it'll say, okay, I need to evaluate the value on the right, and it comes here. And then it sees the next one. It says, I need to evaluate the value on the right. So normally, the way to think about this is you go all the way to the left and all the way to the right and evaluate the rightmost expression. So var plus 5 is going to equal 15. And now what happens is 15 is the value of this. So 15 gets assigned to yar. What's the value of yar? The value of yar is 15. And what gets assigned to var? Well, 15 gets assigned to var. So you can see here that you can chain together you can chain together assignment operators. Now in practice, nobody's really going to write a program quite like this usually. You would usually only assign a value to one variable at a time on any given statement. But here you can see that it's possible to assign to two variables at the same time. All right. Let me show you another example that is even weirder. You could also say something like this. Var equals 5 plus var minus 5. All right, so what is happening in this weird expression? And by the way, you won't see this a lot either, but let's evaluate what's happening. Anytime we have parenthesis in an expression, it means evaluate the parenthesis first, okay? So what is, oh, sorry, I meant to create an equals operator here. What is var equals 5? Well, when you assign a value to a variable, the result of that expression is whatever value you assigned. So in this statement, I assign 5 to the variable var, and out of this expression, this entire expression also evaluates to the number 5. Then I say 5 plus 5 is 10, and I assign var to the result of 5 plus 5, which is 10. So when this whole statement is over, var will be equal to 10, maybe. So as it turns out, in the C language, this behavior is not defined by the language. So whoever wrote the compiler might decide to evaluate this first and then evaluate this. This isn't really a good way to write a statement, but what I wanted you to get clear in your mind is that the results that come out of an assignment expression, okay, not only do you assign a value to the variable, but the entire expression evaluates to whatever value you assigned and then can then be reused in another statement that you've chained along. So that's a little bit of wonkiness about assignment. But normally you're going to see assignments like this and like this. All right, let's move beyond the assignment operator and look at the math operators. The math operators are just like you would expect. Multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. And there's one more, which we'll talk about in a second. And that is called the modulo operation, which we'll define. So let's imagine we still have A, B, and C as defined up here. I can write a multiplication operation like this. B times C, 0 times 3 equals 0, and so 0 gets assigned to the value A. But look at this. I could also say A equals B plus 10 times C. Now, if you think about it, there's two potential ways this could be interpreted. I could say B plus 10 equals 13 times C equals 0, so 13 times 0 is 0, okay? Or I could say 10 times C, 0 times 10 is 0, 0 plus B, B is 3, is 3. So two different ways to interpret this, and you'd get two different values assigned to A depending on how you interpreted it. Luckily, the way the C language works, and almost all languages that I'm aware of work, is they honor the traditional order of operation in mathematics. You might remember that there's an acronym called Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And what it stands for is, in a mathematical expression, you always evaluate what is inside parenthesis first. Next, you evaluate exponent operations. Next, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. So in this statement, it is defined that you must evaluate the multiplication, all the multiplications first. So we would say 10 times C, C is 0. Now we can do the addition, 0 plus B equals 3. So the result of this will be A equals 3, based on this acronym here. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. Now, a trick you can use in the C language, which I think will be natural to you from mathematics, is we could just say A equals B plus parentheses 10 times C. And here we would be being very specific that we wanted to evaluate 10 times C first. We could also say A equals parentheses B plus 10 times C. And we would be telling the computer, I want you to evaluate in this order instead. So the result of this multiplication or of this expression will be 0 gets assigned to A. All right, so that's all about these basic operators. Let me show you about the modulo operator, which it turns out gets evaluated right there. It gets evaluated after division. So modulo is an operation that's provided by the C language to operate on integers. So if I take as an example A divided by B, and remember, A equals 5, B equals 3. So I'm saying 5 divided by 3. When I'm operating on integers, the result will be an integer. So when I say 5 divided by 3, the answer is 1. 3 will only go into 5 one time completely. And there are 2 left over. 2 is the remainder. Okay? So the modulo operation, if I say A modulo B, the result that I get is 2. So what I'm saying here is 5 moduloed by 3. 3 will go into 5 one time, and the remainder of that operation is 2. So when I use this, it's like it's a companion operator for division that I can use with integers that will provide me the remainder of the integer division. Now, if in the language I'm dividing something like 5.1 divided by 3.1, this will give me a floating point result, which means there won't be a remainder. The computer will actually compute the decimal mathematics here. Sorry, the rational number mathematics. Let me just do that math really quick on my computer because I don't know it off the top of my head. All right, so this is roughly 1.645. 1.645. So if you're operating on floating point numbers or a floating point variable, the computer will compute what you would expect, a number with a fractional part. But if you're operating on integer variables or integer values, it only returns you integer values, and so you can use this modulo to find the remainder. This is going to turn out to be very useful in programming, and we'll see more of that in future videos. All right, now let's look at some operators that maybe will be less familiar to you. The comparison operators in the C language are less than, greater than, less than or equal, greater than or equal, equal, not equal. So what do these operators do? Well, they compare two values, the values of two expressions, and they return 1 for true or 0 for false. So let's take a look. Let's imagine that I have these variables defined. I can say x is less than y. The result of this expression, which has an operator and two variables, will be true. X is less than y. So what will come out of this expression is the number 1, which means in the C language, true. That statement is true. However, if I flipped it around and I said x is greater than y, well, obviously I would get a 0, which means false. So these operators here can be used, and they do exactly what you would think. If you ask less than or equals, you're saying here I could say, is x less than or equal to itself? And the answer that would come back would be, yeah, x is less than or equal to itself. It's equal to itself. So using these expressions, I can compare numbers. Okay? I can also compare expressions like this. I could say z is greater than x plus y. I'm asking it as a question. Well, if I add x and y, I get 11. Is z greater than 11? Nope, it's not. So 0 will come out of this. Now, it may seem right now a little puzzling. Why are we doing these types of operations? Well, in a future video, we're going to learn about what's called flow of control in a C program, which allows us to say things like, if x is less than y, then I want you to do one thing. If x is not less than y, meaning it's greater than y, then I want you to do something else. So in a computer program, we can have, later we'll learn, we can have these statements that say, I want you to take one of several different possible actions depending on the values of different variables. Keep in mind, another one that is useful here is the equal operator. Does x equal 5? Yes. Does x not equal 5? No, x does not equal 5. So I think these operators are pretty clear in themselves, and they'll become more clear as we use them. All right, let's look at the final kind of operator. I'm pretty sure you've probably never seen or heard of these. These are called logical operators, and they allow us to combine multiple comparison operations, and here's how they work. When you put two ampersands, this is referred to as an AND operator in mathematical logic, and it means you're asking the question, are both sides of this operator true? This one's called OR. You're asking, is at least one side of this expression true? And NOT is used to change the truth value of whatever appears to the right of the NOT symbol. So again, always easier to look at examples. Let's look at examples. So I might say something like this. 10 is greater than 5, okay, and 10 is greater than or equal to 10. So this expression is asking, are both sides true? Is it true that 10 is greater than 5 and 10 is greater than or equal to 10? Well, yes, that's true. So this entire expression will evaluate to 1, which means true. On the other hand, I might say something like, is 1 greater than 3, or is 5 greater than 3? So what here I'm asking is at least one side of this true? Is 1 greater than 3? Well, no, it's not. That is false. That is a 0, false. But 5 is greater than 3. This is true. That's a 1. So when I apply this OR operator, I'm saying, is that true or is that true? It's also okay if both are true. If either is true or both, then the value that will come out of this expression is a 1. Again, it's true. All right? So let's take a look at the NOT, okay? We could write the following expression. NOT 1 is greater than 3, or 5 is greater than 3. So what am I saying in this expression? I'm saying, is 1 greater than 3? It's not, so I'm going to get the value 0. But then I apply the not operator. The not operator means, basically, that you want to change the truth value of whatever appears on the right. So I say not 0 is 1. I just switch the truth value. So, and then over here, 5 is greater than 3. We already said that's true, so that's a 1. So when I say 1 or 1, 1 or 1 is true or true is true. If either side is true, then it's true. So this is going to be true. So the important thing about this example is just that the not operator reverses the result of whatever is on its right. Okay? Another way to think about this is I could say, if x is not equal to 5, or x is less than 10, so just showing you another example. Remember, not equals is a special comparison operation. If x does not equal 5, or if x is less than 10, remember we defined x up here to be 5. So x does not equal 5. That happens to be false. X does equal 5. But x is less than 10? Yeah, sure, that's true. So when I take the or operator of these, is this true or is this true? Well, yes, one of them is true. So the outcome of this will be true. These logical operators, as I said before, are used to combine two different comparison operators and kind of test both of them and come up with the answer. So it's, is this true and this is true? Or is this true or this is true? That's what we use the logical operators for. Okay, so today we went over how assignments work and all the different operators that are going to be most frequently used in the C language. We'll learn more about these operators as we move forward in our videos. As always, check out the companion coding program, that goes along with this video. That is program number 6, Assignment and Math Operators. There's notes in here for you to read that'll help you understand things better, and lots of practical examples that show you how these different operators work. As always, feel free to play with the program, change the numbers, change the variables, and see what happens. That's the point. Starting in the next couple videos, we're going to start changing our program assignments so that I give you a programming challenge. You complete the challenge on your own, but a working version of the challenge, a working version of the program will be available to you so you can check your results. But for now, the only thing you need to do with these programs is just run through them and make sure they make sense. See if you can change things and get the results you would expect. All right, thanks for joining today, and we'll see you next time.